So not too long ago, I did a video talking about sunsetting in Destiny 2. Okay, I also shared my thoughts on sunsetting in Destiny 2. Okay, again. Since then, I've read through your comments, and I listened to other people's opinions on sunsetting. Took some time to think more about it. I am a lot more concerned than I was even just a few days ago. Like, every day, it's gotten worse and worse the more that I think about it, and the more that I hear more about it, and their concerns about it. So that's why I'm talking about it again. Yay, concerning things for Destiny's future. Oh boy. Listen, Bungie, I don't like to call you out on doing things absolutely wrong, unless it is. And I would like to give you benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to talk about some concerns that I may have that could happen with Destiny 2 Beyond Light and past. I've been wrong in the past, and I will say that openly, but when there's concerns, I want to talk about it, because right now, it is July, and we still have no information on sunsetting other than this is happening, this is going to hinder you, and here are some things that already are going to concern you by just playing the game now and seeing the changes, quote unquote, on what they're planning on doing with reissued weapons. It's not looking very positive. I will say that. Now, this is a Bungie idea, and I get why they're doing this. They don't want to go back and nerf things from the past. But I just sit there and I go, what did they really have to nerf or change all the way in the past, other than the pinnacle weapons? Then I just say, why not have pinnacle weapons be its own rarity, or just have them be something that has a cap, instead of harming every single legendary we ever grind for? Because then you're taking that statement that you've said in the past about basically respecting those of who invest time in the game, respecting their time and investment into anything that they're grinding for, and respecting that, and now slapping it out of our hands, or your own hands, and throwing it in the garbage and saying, we never said that. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like we're actually being respected on what we're doing inside of the game that you've created. So I still give them benefit of the doubt to talk and explain why we're going to have incentives of following through with sunsetting. But here's the thing, Bungie, is this another double primary idea? Because this is another double primary idea if you don't talk about it still. Because when Bungie announced that double primaries were going to be a thing, that was an idea on paper for them. And it was still a bad idea, even on paper. It's just terrible. Why would they put shotguns and rocket launchers in the same category? And not only that, double primaries? Really? And that whole idea was just so then they didn't have to deal with people saying this shotgun, this sniper, this fusion being way too good in the Crucible and having it be chaotic. They wanted to make it more competitive friendly, and it just didn't work. And that was something that didn't get fixed until a year later. Nobody really wanted double primaries, and there was no incentive to do so. I mean, there was, quote-unquote, some that were compared to Destiny 1, but not really. It was just like, this is happening to you. Deal with it. That's how it felt. But then Forsaken released, and they made a complete 180, and not only that, but they actually made incentives to actually pick up the same weapon, but 2.0 version. The Better Devils from Destiny 2 Vanilla had static rolls and didn't have much to it until later on they added masterworking. But in Forsaken, the Better Devils in there had random rolls, still had the masterwork, and now you could put mods onto those weapons to enhance it even further. Everyone was like, goodbye, Better Devils, or should I say, meh Devils? Here's the actual Better Devils. There was incentive to go with Bungie's change. And when it came to Destiny 2 now, or should I say Beyond, that's where I'm concerned. Where's the incentive to sunsetting, other than this is just going to make Bungie's life a lot easier? I mean, they're vaulting a lot of things in Destiny 2 because it's taking up too much space, but already I'm concerned because it's like, okay, well, you're getting rid of a lot of old activities. It should be a lot easier for you to balance things and not do the sunsetting. Well, I guess that's not going to happen because it's still going to happen. And I get why they're doing this, because of the fact that there is no reason to grind for a new hand cannon that's the same archetype if you already got the hand cannon that you were okay with. There's no reason to experiment and try and see if that new weapon is good. But at the same time, I mean, telling us to just throw away our toys and just say, now you're dealing with this, even if you don't like it, just doesn't seem right. And recently with Season of Rivals, they did just that, and it hurts. I noticed that Iron Banner was returned, and not only that, its loot pool was changed. We got 2 reissued weapons that have random rolls that weren't originally in the loot pool. The auto rifle and the sidearm. Then I also noticed that some of the other weapons that were already in the loot pool since Forsaken now have something new to it. Nothing really, actually. It's just an icon on the top left says that it's from Season of Rivals. But it's not. So my initial response was, well, great. That must mean that my Swarm of the Raven that I grinded so many tokens to get is also updated. Go to my vault to see the Forsaken symbol next to it. Bungie was like, hey, why don't you grind tokens again, slap tokens to Saladin again, and just maybe attempt to try and bring back that weapon that you already spent 10,000 tokens to try and get in the first place that wasn't even a god roll, but it was good enough. No thanks. That is something that makes me concerned. Incentives. I've talked about this with the power leveling video, that a lot of casuals and a lot of my friends who do like to play Destiny, but don't want to do the tedious, non-fun stuff of power leveling just to unlock the fun stuff. And when it comes to grinding for weapons, that's another thing that just doesn't seem really enjoyable. There's ways of doing it right, and this is not it. And I just get concerned that as soon as the Beyond Light comes out, I'm going to see spare rations and maybe some other weapons slapped back in with maybe some random rolls that weren't tied to it originally, but it's still that weapon. And the weapon that's in your vault, better delete it because it's not that great anymore. You have to go regrind. And grinding for specific rolls is not easy. It takes a lot of time. Heck, I still hear from people who are trying to grind for the best spare rations, and they've been doing it for months to even years. Like, it takes forever for some people. Heck, my RNG has been terrible. So when I hear, well, you gotta regrind for the same thing again, I don't sound excited. I don't feel like what I felt with Forsaken, where they told me, hey, this Better Devils you're gonna regrind for. But it's got all this cool new things tied to it to make it actually better. Here's your incentive. We need that. Like, I don't know what they could do, but making a giant change to the new primary system or, well, loot system of weapons to make there be an incentive to get them would make it amazing. Make some changes. Maybe have snipers have different scopes now, instead of being the easy way of just every scope is the same. How about doing that? Adding maybe double perks to each slot. Maybe have double mod slots. Have some reason to level up our weapons where if we use it for a while, it makes it actually better, not just the masterworking. I don't know. There's so many things that they could probably do, but it just feels like they're not really prioritizing that. AKA, prioritizing what makes easier for them rather than what makes it more fun and easier for us. And that sucks. Because their incentive is making sure that we're playing the game, it feels like, and grinding, and having a reason to just go back and do the same thing over and over again. So if they were to release a spare rations with a new icon, people would just go out and grind it, they probably would say to themselves. Well, they'll just do it, because it's spare rations, a good hand cannon. I want new stuff, and I want that new stuff to actually be good, and feel different. I want perks that make it feel fun, not perks that are nerfed to the ground where it's just like, When I see that they're nerfing Outlaw and Reload perks, I'm just like, what are they doing? That's not the incentive. Just nerfing something is not going to make people go, yeah, I don't want Outlaw anymore. They're still going to go out and get Outlaw because reloads take away from time to kill. And when it comes to Destiny, I want to ensure that I feel like I'm becoming a legend. And when we're constantly just hindering our Guardians more and more, it doesn't feel like that. The mod system for our armor could be something way more interesting, and they're kind of trying to get closer to that, but when it comes to sunsetting armor, and how annoying and just confusing it is to know what armor piece can use these mods from these season and that season, and then those are going to be sunset. It just gives me a headache. And I can't imagine for a casual, because I'm a hardcore player that's played hundreds and hundreds of hours inside of Destiny, and I even am getting a headache. I'm like, whoa, how am I going to keep up with all this stuff? How am I going to even want to do anything in the game? What's the incentive? What is it? And Bungie needs to explain that. Heck, there's a lot of Nightfall exclusive weapons that are inside old strikes that still don't have random rolls. I don't understand why Bungie just didn't go, hey, let's do this. Let's bring this weapon back, but now with random rolls. I mean, they just clearly showed that they can just slap an icon right next to a weapon and say, look, it's new. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they could do that with a weapon, slap the symbol, add new perks to it, and there you go. I mean, the DFA hand cannon was one of my favorite hand cannons for PvE at the time, and having random rolls to it would be kind of interesting. I mean, I'm just saying. But not only that, but Vanguard strikes. Why don't you have weapons, more weapons that are exclusive to the strikes, having at least like 2, or maybe have a weapon and an armor piece drop. Something that looks cool, that, oh, you beat this boss, and make it rare. Do the thing that you did in strikes back in D1, which I plan on doing in a separate video. But I just struggle to see what's the reasoning. And when I also heard that Bungie did state in one of their twabs about sunsetting that exotics are not being touched as of right now. As in, they may think about sunsetting exotics as well. And that just, again, it reminds me of all the things that went wrong in Destiny 1 and why a lot of players dipped and didn't want to come back. This is not it. Bungie, if you just want to make things easier for yourself, why not do it back for us? And not only that, incentivize and make things more fun. That's what you need to do. If you're slapping something right onto the game that's going to make us go, how about slapping on the game some fun factors, some incentives, fun grinds for those weapons, and reasons to. Making these weapons very different from the previous. And no, not just an icon next to it. Maybe have an, I don't know, a weapons 3.0. I'm pretty sure that they could do something like that. Something along those lines. And I'm going to have to say this too. This is another big concern that I didn't really think I was going to have, but now I am. Burns. We have a 4th burn coming in. Stasis. And a lot of our weapons are being sunset. What are we going to use? Like, if a lot of our weapons are being sunset and now we have 4 different burns and all your weapons have static burns to them, what do we do? How about also add a feature where, I mean, just a thought, where we can change the burns of our weapons? I know that they would probably be like, would that make hard light useless? You can make a 3.0 idea for exotics and make them where it's not the only gimmick is, oh, you could switch archetypes. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if Hardlight can't even have stasis to it, that it's not going to be updated to have that, or Borealis. But I just think to myself, why not have kinetic weapons have in their 3.0 version where they can have burns to it? You can have burns to every weapon, and it doesn't have to have osmosis tied to it. But I'm just seeing all the things that I'm worried about. And I know that they're not going to have enough new weapons to suffice all the things that are being removed. They're going to reissue things. And if it's the way that they're doing it right now, it's not it. There is no reason for me to go out of my way to regrind for things that I already grinded before if it's the same thing entirely. And even if it's just like a small change, that's not an incentive. That's just, no. Because I already am going to be thinking about, yeah, this is only useful for a year. And I don't really want to think about that. Have something where it numbs that idea. That it numbs the whole thought process of, hey, this is going to be garbage in a year. More aligns being like, this is amazing, use it now. Those feelings about weapons where it feels good. Nerfing perks to weapons is not the right move. But if there's other ways of making turnarounds where it's not just the perks of the weapon that make it good, like mod slots and such, then go for that. I'm just really disappointed and concerned. Like, Bungie really has a great game. And I feel like they can make Destiny 2 amazing. But when it feels like they're just cutting corners for themselves, which, granted, they work very hard and they're by themselves right now. They're self-publishing. It's got to be stressful. And I would like it to be easier for them. But when I see nothing to make our experience easier, just because, well, we want to ensure that it's very grindy, like how power leveling is, where we can't just regrind whatever we want to just get up our level, because clearly power leveling is more aligned unlocking features, not making your Guardian stronger. Don't lie, Bungie, because I went through the Whisper mission and it's a 750 activity, or old raids that are 750, and I'm still getting destroyed. I don't feel like I'm 1060 versus 750. I don't. So that's the thing that they need to focus on. And that's my feedback with sunsetting as of right now. Bungie needs to think about incentives. Reasons of why we would drop our old gear that we've grinded for years to get the new stuff. And not only that, add features where people are not afraid to drop things. AKA, how about a Collections 2.0, where you can slot your favorite version of a weapon. Instead of deleting it, you're just slotting it away. So then just in case, if you want to reissue anything, we can bring that thing back. Instead of being like, well, you gotta grind for it again. Because that is just not fair. It's not respecting the time and investment. There's so many things that need to be implemented before sunsetting goes through. I know you want to make things easier, but you should make things easier for your players as well. It feels just disrespectful on time and investment. Just like you would think that it would be disrespectful if we were just going around and destroying your time investment on game play mechanics or raids and stuff that you've created. So, bottom line is, think of something that would respect the player and incentivize why they would go for the new things, why they would drop the old. But you really need to explain why this is happening, especially with armor. I think armor is the one that really gets me, and I get why they're trying to say, well, mods, but here's the thing. Vaulting is a thing now. If there is going to be mods for the Leviathan raid still in the game, what? That thing is gone. So vault those mods as well to replace it with the new mods. And maybe just keep doing that. I don't know. Especially with how hard it is to grind for the best static rolls of armor and getting the exact things that you want. If you want all intellect and discipline, and also make sure that that roll is like a 65 or higher. It's hard. Bungie, come on. If you want to make things easier for yourself, and that's the reasoning why this is happening, then allow it easier for your players. That's all I gotta say. And not only that, like I said, the incentives. There's many other things, but that's what I have on my mind right now about sunsetting. But yes, I am very, 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 very concerned. I'm still looking forward to Destiny 2 Beyond Light for the game itself, playing through a new experience. Going back to the Cosmodrome and Vault of Glass, sure, that's fine, especially if it's free. But I'm mainly looking forward to playing the new story, the new campaign, and doing the new raid. I'm not looking forward to what sunsetting is going to bring, and I mean the bad stuff. So we got to talk more. We got to explain more and not be afraid of the heavy-hitting questions like I pretty much mentioned in this video. Listen, Bungie, I love what you do. I love you all as a company and all your developers. You work very hard. And I really want that respect to be given. But when it comes to sunsetting, even if you make an amazing raid, if it just feels blah, because of the sunsetting, it sucks. Because people will not want to do those activities. So that's all I have to really say. I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. If I decide to come back to this topic again, because there's other things I want to talk about with it, I will. But as of right now, that's all I really wanted to say about it, because I am very, very concerned about it, more than what I was before. So either way, Thank you so much for listening. You're all chibi-tastic. So have a chibi-tastic day, night, evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next Chibi video. Chibi out.